So we're moving on to examination details. Check the operating system, information, user accounts, secure IDs for each user account, and then time zone and other information specific to user accounts. So this question here, which forensic software tools we use for media examination. Of course, we'll be using a variety of tools. The first one here was FTK Imager, and I like FTK Imager because it seems to have done pretty good job recovering deleted partition. And so this whole data structure here is pretty impressive. And I already loaded this image in my autopsy case right here, so I'm hoping that autopsy will be helpful recovering some of the operating system information. Okay, so first we need to check the time zone on the system. So we have after running a recent activity ingest module, we should be getting some operating system information data here. So in case of autopsy, this system information will be coming from two registry hives or registry files on the system, which is the system hive and the software hive. So there are two important detail views available here, which is the results of the ingest module, and also the application view, which gives us the raw look into the registry hive, which is a hierarchical database with keys and values preset here. So there's plenty of information available online regarding the structure of Windows registry and where we should be looking for various types of information. So for example, right now if we're looking for operating system time zone as was set by the user, unfortunately this results does not list this information, does not process it. So I'll just go to the application view, and my first step will be to go to the select key and current. So the current value here, which is hexadecimal 1 and decimal 1, specifies that our current control set used by the registry is this one, control set 001. If it was set to 2, then we'd be going into control set 2. So there's some duplication here in the registry database. So we're going to go after checking select current, we'll be going into control set 01. So I expand that into control, and under control, if you scroll down, there is time zone information. So clearly this description right here tells us that this is set to Central Standard Time. So I would normally recommend that you go to Tools and Options and View, and under View area there is control how we can display times in autopsy. And of course, file allocation table file system stores local times of the operating system, whereas NTFS, where the operating system is installed, is using UTC times. UTC stands for Coordinated Universal Time, and it's a successor of GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time. So absolute time reference here under UTC rules doesn't change with seasons, like the daylight savings time does not apply. So anyway, we need to be able to display the time correctly, and this is a very long list that is a little difficult to scroll. So I already preset this to GMT -6 US Central Time. before starting this video recording. So again, this is under Tools, Options, View, and use another time zone, because we now know that computer came from that time zone, and also the operating system was set to use this central time. Okay. You can copy this line by pressing Ctrl-C, and sometimes I just keep a scratch pad like this to paste it in. So you see that it copies the entire line of information right here, specifying the name of the field in the registry and the type of storage, which is just a string, and this is central time zone. So this information could be copied over here like this, and that's one of the possibilities to use this window or this detail display. In addition to this, we have a so this is standard name, which a time zone name. There's also standard start, which specifies month, week, day, time of day, when the transition from daylight saving time to the standard time occurs. So this is usually November or October. There's also a standard bias right here, which is typically 0. This is minutes during standard time period. It can be ignored largely in our investigations. The bias here is the current time zone offset from Greenwich Mean Time, interpreted in minutes. So this is the difference between Greenwich Mean Time and the current local time. So basically it's the difference between the time in Missouri and London. All right, so we also have active time bias, which is the time zone offset from Greenwich Mean Time, including daylight bias, interpreted as GMT. So these are all little details that are required to support a variety of time zones. But here the most important detail that we now established, that this is the central time zone. In summary, file systems like NTFS store universal time, independent of the local time zone. Other systems like FAT32 store the timestamps as local, specific to the time zone set by the operating system. And the difference here is pretty clear. We want to be aware of all things involved. Time stored, is it local time or universal time? So the time zone used by the operating system is very important, and any dates, times that we display in our case reports, exhibits, presentations, we need to know what are they, universal time, or in most cases it's probably desirable to show the time as it was visible to the users at the time when they used the computer. And it can be really embarrassing to show incorrect time due to the time zone difference between your own forensic workstation and the time zone of the computer. So that it's a standard practice to look at the time zone setting in the computer BIOS while the computer hard drive is imaged. And we just need to be aware of this, and that's why we definitely look at the time zone set by the operating system, like we just did for our reporting right here. Most forensic tools, including Autopsy, FTK, and in case, allow you to set the time zone of your case either at the evidence source level, like at the level of the data source. For instance, right here we can right click and look at the properties, and it tells me that in Autopsy environment the time zone now is set to be Canada Central. And other tools may allow you to set the time zone for individual volumes, like for each individual volume which is present on the image. So the volume, of course, in the user perspective corresponds to drive C, D, E, and so on.